So just like that, the 2-month gap is done. We're here in Italy, ready for round 3. Let's get after it. So we've made it to Nice, and the van's here to pick me up, and I couldn't miss it.
We're in Italy with the boys. First things first, get fit.
For round 3 of the Enduro World Cup, we were headed to Pietra Ligure, the seaside town just along the road from Finale. Not only is Finale a regular stop for the Enduro World Cup, it's also the hometown of my mechanic, Matteo Natti, and he took us on a day with Ride Nolly, showing us some of the sweet single track. We had an awesome day and incredible vibes, great people, which set us up for a brilliant start to the race week. So I'm just on my way down to the pits to help the boys set up the tent, and then we're going to go and do some testing, so come along for the day. So one thing I will just hit straight on the head is that there has been a change of circumstance within the team, and now it's just a one-woman show. Management have made some decisions, that's all between them, and I'm just here to do my job. So that's that, and it means that I get to work with Matteo one-on-one, which is really cool because he's got a lot of experience, and we're here with Steve Coach, who's the sports brand marketing guru of just all things GT in general, just rad, lovely, very nice human. So that's who's here at the moment, and we're just gonna cruise down to the pits. Look at this! Oh, there they are. So we have been doing an afternoon of testing, riding my coach. Matteo's been on the tools. We've got the motion instruments telling us our numbers, and we have been working quite nicely. And on run 6, we found a winner in our settings. So now we're just trying it on another track, see how it is, and key things we're looking for at the moment is a fun bike that feels good, responding well. I feel like I can ride for a 20-minute downhill stage, so relatively comfortable, but just allows me to zone out into just riding my bike and having a good time. And I think we found that, so now we're just going to double check.
Spritz a clock.
Yeah, spritz a clock! Successful day! Woo! Whoa! I was having a really good day. I'd done the first stage and put down a solid run. I knew I had more to give, and it was so sketchy stage 2. I was pretty pleased to be getting through it all right. And then on the most unassuming piece of track, just lost the front end, took a decent hit to my head. I've been here before, I'm not willing to take any risks. So since hitting my head, I've done a lot of sleeping. I got straight on to the recovery, which was really good, and the team was a massive help because they basically sorted everything else out for me. I didn't have to pack up the pits or anything like that. And then Matteo organised getting me to the airport. Cam sorted out my flight. Went to the airport, wore sunglasses and earplugs just to lower the stimulus, really as a precaution. I seemed to manage all right with all of that. More sleeping yesterday, and then I started to feel a lot better. Today I'm seeing Chad. My neck's pretty sore, and I'm hoping symptoms are kind of coming from that more than anything else, but we will see what Chad has to say. So one thing I haven't spoken about is the symptoms that I experienced, and when initially I hit my head, I was like, oh gosh, I've actually hit my head pretty hard here. After that, I was like, my goodness, my neck, that like right sore. I was like, gosh, that hurt. And as I'm riding down, I'm assessing, am I responding, how are things, and I make it to the bottom of the stage. Then I realise what has happened and that I'm going to have to make some tough calls. My head's sore, but it has just smashed off the ground. Anyway, my team happened to be there, so I spoke with them. I was pretty upset because I've hit my head before and it's horrible, and I was also just really frustrated because I have everything that I need to perform, and I went and crashed and smashed my head off the ground. So that was really, really annoying so many great people around me and helping me, and then that happened, so I was pretty angry about it. But as I continued on to the next stage and got my heart rate up, going up a hill, the pressure in my head increased. I started feeling sick, and I was just like, you can't push through this. You can push through anything. Like, if I'd broken any bone, I would have pushed through, like, no questions asked, and probably thrived at the opportunity to push and show GT and everybody that I'm committed to this and that I will I'll do anything to finish. But you can't push through a freaking head injury. You've got to stop. Because if I hit my head again, then we're out for even longer, and it's just such a crappy injury, and I'm pretty angry about it. But it is what it is. We're doing what we can. My symptoms at the moment are pretty good. I've just driven for the first time, and that seems to be okay. So really mild symptoms, which I think is as a result of getting on the recovery really quickly. I'm really hoping that stood me in good stead. The other thing is I haven't hit my head for a very long time, so that's really positive in that hopefully we're just recovering from one hit. The previous time that I was out with this was because I'd hit my head way too many times in under a year. So fingers crossed we get some good answers from Chad, and we'll get back to it ASAP.
Yeah, so you go to the right first,
Yeah.
and then you'll come back to the middle and stop where you think you're in alignment, and then open your eyes.
Okay, so shut my eyes before I move.
Yes.
Okay, right.
Okay. Not bad. Yeah, so some people end up down here or way up there, so it's not that far off.
Not too bad, okay.
Okay.
Right.
And then to the left.
Oh, yes!
So you came back, you ended up here, you stopped,
Yeah.
and then you realigned yourself to there. So right-sided deficiency, right? So it's all, the right side of your neck is what's going to be a problem for you.
Yeah.
After my assessment with Chad, we were pretty convinced that I wasn't concussed and that most of the symptoms were coming from my neck. We treated my neck and put in place a gradual return to exercise that would allow me to keep an eye on my symptoms under a controlled heart rate. I was so stoked and incredibly relieved. Every other time I've hit my head, it's resulted in a long time off the bike. So to nail the recovery and for it to work out was a massive, massive win. And with that, it was time to head out to the next set of races in Europe.
I've never been more gutted with a block of racing in my life, to be fair. I wanted this next series of Keeping Up With Katy to be a different story, not just like, oh, here I am struggling again and trying to figure it out. But I think that's actually just the reality, is that biking and racing and being an athlete is actually just quite hard, and there are a lot of challenges, and even when you get onto a professional team, there's always problems. It's just, instead of having the problems I did have, I just had different problems, and it's just part of life. So I have learned a lot this season, and I think I've settled in quite nicely now, and here we are. So I'm here in Ludenvale for the penultimate round of the EDR series, and what could be my second last race of my career.